good to have you back. What can I do for you?
What seems to be the trouble?
Anything you can tell us would be helpful.
I'm just looking to increase the power in my thrusters. I was hoping you could take a look.
Yeah, I heard they even sent word to some of the contacts you met. They're writing an awful lot of checks they can't cover without Crix's legacy, but we'll be ready for them. Anything else?
I did not, but if it...
Damn it. I was afraid of that. I'll warn our ships to use looser formations. Hopefully Durand isn't as clever as she thinks she is, or you can help us take the batteries down when the attack begins. Was that all?
Do you want to be in?
Okay, well, if anything else springs to mind before you leave, please let me know. Even as long ago as the Narian War, Galbank used an extremely potent level of encryption on their currency. Unfortunately, the Unluck ciphers are lost to time. However, if you can bring us one of Galbank's old transfer modules, I know it would help. Don't worry, I'm sure some of the techs at MAST will be able to work with whatever you bring to reverse the encryption. Excellent. Let me have it, and I'll upload it to our database. Perfect. Taking her out of the running is going to seriously damage the Crimson Fleet's hold on Neon. Even better, that's one less fleet captain and one less ship to worry about. That it? Benjamin Bayou, pride of the Free Star Collective. The authorities there have been trying to nail him for a long time. Bringing us proof that he's been manipulating Generdyne from the shadows is pretty tasty stuff. The FC will pay dearly for this. Good job. Find anything else? Perfect. Komiko's wanted for corporate violations in UC territory, but having concrete evidence means we extradite her and nail her to the wall. I'm sure we can arrange a prisoner trade with the Free Star Collective, make it beneficial for both interested parties. Any other fragments? We were aware that Miss LaRue was involved with Fergus Wickham. When her body was recovered, SysDef assumed he was the culprit. Sounds like we had it wrong. Should have pinned the murder on this Clay Dietrich perp. Well, we'll have to clear that up. Nice find. Have any more? Damn it. I knew those supplies had to be coming from somewhere, but I never expected them to be leaking directly from the clinic. I'll have to contact MAST and let them deal with this. Free Star Collective territory is out of my jurisdiction. Anything else? A hot tip, huh? What kind of idiot would dig in their heels waiting for a massive payout on some of the cheapest food in the settled systems? I've seen some strange things on this assignment, but this definitely tops the list. I'll, pass it on to my superiors. I'm sure they'll get right on it. Have any more? Good. When SysDef stumbled across the wreckage of the ship, we were sure it was the Crimson Fleet, but we could never prove it. We found 32 dead colonists in that wreckage. Poor crew must have put up a hell of a fight. At least their families will now have some closure. That it? I have to hand it to Neva Mora. The lady's thorough. That facility on Crete still holds a good bit of valuable resources and equipment. All right. Can't do much with this one except pass it over to the military. Hopefully they stop denying the base's existence and do something about it. Have any more? Understood. Keep searching and you're bound to find more. I suppose. Though the commander won't be thrilled that I told you, so keep it to yourself. So, when I was running with the Crimson Fleet, I put together a hell of a crew. 6 of the toughest pirates I could find.
What training? I've mostly been learning on the job.
On the record, it's against regulations. My personnel profile is private, and you need the proper authorization to access the file. Off the record, Commander Akande isn't exactly popular at MAST for the way he runs his operation, so he likes to keep these things quiet. The fact that an ex-pirate is second in command to SysDef's pride and joy wouldn't inspire waves of confidence from his superiors.
If we're gonna finish this, the timing has to be just right.
But even though my share of the salvage was smaller, I had one of the most efficient ships in the fleet. More efficient ship meant more lucrative jobs. I was trying to be smart and play the long game. My first mate was Arya Fikes, the toughest of the bunch. The only problem was that she had a hell of a temper. The smallest things could just Set her off, and believe me, she took a while to cool down. Honestly, she was so overbearing she kind of fell into the role on her own. I didn't even make it official for months. Despite her temper, she always had my back and helped me keep the rest of the crew in line. Of course, it also helped that she was the best pilot in the fleet. She flew rings around what SysDef was throwing at us back then. Well, the positives outweighed the negatives. At first. Anyway, there was this one particular incident where we had a hot tip on a freighter supposedly running heavy with ore. The second we dropped out of grav space, we knew it was a trap. We'd been set up, and the UC was waiting for us. Somehow we managed to take out all of their attack ships. I grabbed Arya and we boarded the freighter. Well, it showed up on Shinya Voss's mission board, which means it could have come from anywhere. I don't know what he's like now, but back then, all of his missions were pretty solid leads with good pay. It wasn't brave. It was arrogant. We fought our way to the bridge and the crew surrendered. That's when the Vigilance arrived. I watched it vaporize my ship and crew in seconds. Commander Akande radioed over for us to give up, turn ourselves in. Arya went wild. Said she'd start executing crew if they didn't let us leave. The commander tried to talk some sense into her, but she was too far gone. I knew right then she'd rather die than surrender. Even as a pirate, I had my limits. I'd never shoot someone that was unarmed and couldn't fight back. As long as they surrendered and gave up the goods, there was no need for them to die. None at all. We were marooned on that freighter. No ship, no escape shuttles, and no chance of rescue. You can't even imagine. Commander Akande promised to be lenient if we let the crew go. When we didn't reply, he sent over a ship to board us. I saw Arya put her gun to one of the hostages' heads, and saw that look in her eye. I could actually see her squeezing the trigger. Next thing I knew, a shot rang out. I'll never forget that look on Arya's face as she fell to the ground with the wound in her chest. Looked down at the gun in my hand like it belonged to someone else. I still don't know why I did it. That's what I keep telling myself. I hope to God we're both right. Long story short, I spent a year in jail, then Keepway recruited me. I guess he saw something in me, a desire to turn my life around. I busted my ass to get where I am today. First mate of the Vigilance. Ironic I'd end up in Arya's position, don't you think? It took a while, and a lot of reflection, but I know we made the right choice. Had I continued down the road I was traveling back then, we wouldn't be speaking right now. I owe everything to Commander Akande for giving me a second chance. According to my superiors at MAST, we've provided them enough data to wrap up this portion of the operation and call it a success. You've brought us a mountain of evidence against the Crimson Fleet and uncovered some unexpected criminal activity. You've done a hell of a job. Oh yeah, without a doubt. The brig is filled with prisoners waiting for trial. We've drained the Crimson Fleet's credits and solved a few mysteries along the way. I'd say that qualifies as making a difference. Oh? Well, I see we've rubbed up on you more than I expected. Anyway, here. I wanted to give you this. It isn't from Commander Akande or the UC. It's from me. It was my sidearm when I ran with the Crimson Fleet. Something special I paid a hell of a lot of money for. Now it's yours. You're very welcome.
There you are. Where have you been? We're about to pull the trigger on the largest scale operation in UC SysDef history. Yes, sir. All of our ships, personnel, and resources have been waiting for your report. Lives are potentially hanging in the balance. So you'll have to forgive me for being so impatient when I ask where the hell you've been. Don't mistake what you're doing as some sort of heroic gesture. We're all risking our lives here. I've received the reports about your little foray into Genodyne. Last piece of the puzzle before you go after Crix's legacy. Which means it's time to put all the cards on the table and prepare to attack the key. That's the only course of action. There's no scenario here where the fleet will be allowed to continue. Before you jump to Bannock 4, I need to make one thing abundantly clear. The credits from that Galbank transport cannot reach the fleet. You have to bring them here at all costs. If Delgado gains access to those resources, we might be touching off a battle we can't possibly win.
We've been monitoring the Crimson Fleet's comm chatter in the Crix system. They're gathering allies by making promises based on your success.
As much as I hate to admit it, UC SysDef won't stand a chance. The fleet will become stronger and more unified than ever.
You cannot help but admire their commitment to their mission.
The only admiration I hold for the Crimson Fleet is the fact that they aren't going to be a problem for much longer. I've always known that when it came down to it, you'd do the right thing. All right, I guess this is it. Do whatever prep you need to do aboard the Vigilance, and then head out to Bannock 4. When you return here with Crix's legacy, we'll begin the attack. Good luck. The evidence you've been bringing to Lieutenant Toft has been instrumental in convincing the brass at Mast to greenlight the attack. They've sent us support ships, extra troops, weapons. All on account of your role in the operation. To put it simply, if it wasn't for you, this operation would be at a standstill. During the end of the Narion War, the money was destined to bolster the Freestar Collective's coffers. Even though we were rivals at the time, and I suppose we still are to some extent, the credits still rightfully belong to their people. After the money is turned over to Mast, I'm certain arrangements will be made to return the money to the proper authorities in Aquila City.
Crew recording initiated.
Son of a bitch! Nothing. Complete waste of time. I've tried everything I can possibly think of, and I end up right where I started. Oh, here I thought I was so clever. Thought I had it all figured out. First, fix my ship and get the prototype shielding back online. Second, shunt the power from the cred tank array back to the system to drain the credits. And then third, haul ass back to my ship before the EM field rips apart the legacy. 3 easy steps, right? Only problem is, I'm stuck at step 1. Every system on my ship is dead, and there's nothing aboard this ship to use for repairs. I can't believe I came all this way, just to end up stuck here like the poor bastards who ran this ship. Actually, wait a second. Issa will figure it out. I told her where I was going for a reason. She's smart. She'll know something's up when I miss the rendezvous. After all, we're supposed to split the loot. All I have to do is sit tight and wait until she figures out that something's gone wrong. Then she'll come here looking for me. In the meantime, I should start rationing my food. I could be waiting for a while.
Crew recording terminated.
What did you need? You have my attention. I think you should follow your own conscience, for I cannot be comfortable with either side gaining Crix's legacy. The Crimson Fleet do not deserve any sort of victory. They are pirate scum, and they always will be. But turning this over to the UC and assisting them in eliminating the Crimson Fleet, that just allows them to sweep this under the rug, erase their mistake. They can continue pretending as though they are morally superior to the rest of the settled systems. Truthfully, I feel like no matter who receives Crix's legacy, no one really wins.
My God. Is that it? Is that Crix's legacy? Amazing. Ensign, take this and enter it into the data core analyzer.
I'm on it, sir.
You see, Lieutenant? I told you he wouldn't let us down.
I have to admit, I'm impressed. Encrypted or not, that's quite a lot of money to be carrying around. The temptation must have been excruciating. It just so happens we did. And with all that money you're carrying, can you really blame us? You could have set yourself up for life, but instead, you chose to do the right thing. It's incredible. Of course. I have a team of decryption experts from Galbank itself on standby. If they can't decrypt that currency, no one can.
I wasn't lying when I said that we had every contingency completely covered.
Well, I'm pleased you made the right decision. I wouldn't have enjoyed having to task our ships to hunt you down.
Now, on to other more pressing matters.
We received confirmation that the fleet ships were scouts sent to probe our defenses. Unfortunately, one of them jumped away before you arrived.
Which means that Delgado will have the Crimson Fleet prepping defenses of its own.
There is little time then. Decisive action must be taken.
I've spent years studying the Crimson Fleet's tactics. Their decision to sacrifice those smaller ships told me everything I needed to know.
No. By choosing to bring Crix's legacy to us, they're likely already reeling from the blow. If we strike now. Lieutenant, if you wouldn't mind explaining our strategy.
Yes, sir. The Vigilance is equipped with the latest in hyper-resistant shielding, making it the only ship that can safely approach the key. The catch is that the key has access to 3 orbital defensive batteries that can fire electromagnetic energy. One hit, and we lose those fancy shields. Our mission is to take out those batteries. In fact, I'll be personally leading the assault on Battery Alpha. I need you to be my support.
But you won't be alone. This is where all your hard work gathering evidence pays off.
That's right. MAST is all in on this. We've managed to get 2 additional squadrons of support.
Well done. With MAST's full support, you can focus on taking out Battery Alpha before supporting the other squadrons.
We've also given you a call sign, Renegade, to help coordinate our movements during the attack.
Once those batteries are destroyed, you board the key and bring Delgado to justice. You won't come quietly. You do what you have to do. No, I don't. I don't send my people on suicide missions. Lieutenant Toft and I are confident you have what it takes to get the job done. Well, this is it. After years of planning, it all comes down to this moment. All my hopes and my best wishes go with you. Good luck.
I can decrypt and re-encode thousands of credits in seconds, but something as simple as this, I didn't see it coming. Not in the slightest. And now because of you, my bomb's been activated. Which means I'm as good as dead. Simple. If I step 1 foot outside of this room, I'll explode, and that'll be that. So either I wait here until I starve to death, or I walk away and end it all. It's the Crimson Fleet's idea of punishment. Now that Sistef is here, the Crimson Fleet can't afford to have everything I know fall into the wrong hands. The moment the Vigilance arrived, Delgado pushed the button, which is as good as putting a gun to my head and pulling the trigger. Forgive me if I don't take you at your word, since you've been lying to me from the very beginning. I've paid you well, treated you with respect, and kept trouble off your back more than a few times. Look me in the eye and tell me why you've allowed this to happen to me. You owe me that much. As the fleet's reckoner, I didn't just deal with currency, I dealt with people. And some of those people target members of the Crimson Fleet and have them killed. We're not exactly welcome everywhere we go. Sending those people misinformation and clogging up their slates with garbage was almost a full-time job. At this point, I can't blame Delgado for activating the bomb. If I was in his place, I'd do the same thing, without hesitation. Well, now that you're here, I don't expect that you'll stay and watch my rather spectacular ending. So why don't you just get out of my sight and let me die in peace? After everything I just said, you'd still be willing to help me. I must be a complete fool. Because even though it makes no sense, I believe you. The only way to deactivate the bomb is through Delgado's computer and operations. You'll probably need his ID to get in. I don't know why you're helping me, but I sincerely hope this isn't another one of your tricks.
Came back to finish the job personally? I don't know who the hell you are anymore. I thought I did, but clearly, I was wrong. What the hell happened to you? You had Krix's legacy in your hands, and you gave it away. For what? For honor? Justice? Looking out for number one, huh? So you did pick up some of my dirty habits. Maybe I taught you too well. You know, when we were on Suarov, I saw the potential for you to become a badass pirate. One of the best. And now you suddenly expect me to believe I have been fooled the entire time? That this was some kind of elaborate game you have been playing? No. No way. For once in your life, be honest with me. Admit that you were tempted. You don't even have the nerve to admit it. Unbelievable. It is obvious that no matter what I say, you have no intention of honoring our pact. You clearly never did. I have already locked down the key and set its reactors to overload. Soon, you, me, and everyone near this station are going to be vaporized. Let's see how far that loyalty to Sistef takes you now. And spend the rest of my life in the brig without a credit to my name? Why would I do that? You got a funny way of showing your appreciation. Now you have the nerve to piss on the fleet and tell me it's raining? Get real. Now that's more like it, Rook. You're a killer. And if you want something, you threaten a person for it. If anyone should be that angry traitor, it's me. But at least you're finally telling the truth. Fine. You win. Standing down the reactors. With the legacy gone, we're dead in the water anyway. But before you have Ikande lock me up, I'm gonna leave you with some parting words. Whether you know it or not, you're damn good at being a pirate. It's in your blood. One of these days, that's all gonna hit you. And I'll be waiting for you in my cell to tell you I told you so.
I have been curious. I know that your role in Constellation was thrust upon you in an unusual way. But that experience does not demand that you stay. You could have delivered the artifact and then left. Why do you stay? One that, hopefully, will soon be solved. My past is complicated. And anyone in Constellation will tell you I do not speak much of it. but my family always stressed the importance of having a purpose in life. You must have a reason for being. This group of people, who by rights would never associate with one another, has come together for a common cause. That is impressive on its own, before considering the magnitude of the work they have undertaken. The possibilities it holds. Yes, that is one way of putting it. I am often surprised at how reluctant some are to agree with the idea. They sometimes seem offended I would suggest such a thing. When I first came to New Atlantis, I was shocked at how many people go about their business every day like drones. They do their jobs, eat their food, sleep in their beds, all seemingly without concern for anything around them. Complacent. Their experience is so different from much of the settled systems. They do not know how good they have it. There is no struggle to survive here. No great risk in daily life. I'm sure you have seen for yourself that is not the case for much of the settled systems. Hostile environments, dangerous creatures, not to mention the threats posed by other humans. None of that touches these people. Yes, they were. I did not grow up amidst such luxury. Purpose cuts through adversity. I know that all too well. And these people seem to have no idea. I am not asking for pity. I have done what is necessary to bear my burdens, and it has led me here. My family is unique within the settled systems. I grew up outside the bounds of the United Colonies, or the Freestar Collective. My parents, and their parents before them, did not believe anyone outside our family could be trusted or relied upon. You can imagine, I am sure, how existence without ties to others is challenging in space. They believed, and still do, that anyone who was not part of our family did not share our values, our goals, and was ultimately a potential threat. My time in the settled systems has mostly led me to agree with them. Choice had nothing to do with it, not for me. But looking back, I understand their concern. For now, though, it would seem you and I have found purpose in Constellation. I believe that is enough. I am pleased that we have common cause, and have enjoyed our time together. Thank you.
I believe congratulations are in order. With this decisive blow, the end of the Crimson Fleet is all but assured. But as much as I'd like to begin this celebration, technically we're still in the process of wrapping up the operation. On that note, Lieutenant, what do you have for me?
Reports are coming in right now, Commander. Delgado and Shinya Voss have been taken into custody. Also, we've transferred personnel to the Key to secure the location until the United Colonies decides what they want to do with the station.
And what about Neva Mora?
According to our reports, Neva led the strike force that attacked the Vigilance. Unfortunately, that was the last we saw of her. It looks like she managed to escape. We don't know her current whereabouts, but I have our operations team looking into it.
That's fine. Overall, excellent news, Lieutenant. I have to admit, for the first time in 7 years, I don't know what to say. How about you? I know that was difficult. You hanging in there? I certainly would have preferred to have reached a resolution regarding her whereabouts. After all, she was the fleet's second in command.
Just watch her back. I'm fairly certain she's not going to simply forget what you've done to the Crimson Fleet.
Let's not ruin the moment, Jillian. I'm sure our friend here is feeling quite pleased. Am I correct? I can understand that. The dual life you are leading must have been incredibly stressful.
Honestly, I have no idea how you kept it all together.
Well, let me let you in on a bit of a surprise. Something I've been working on for a while. I've twisted arms and cashed in some favors at Mast. I wanted to make sure you got a share of the money you recovered from the legacy. Call it a reward, a token of appreciation, whatever the hell you want. But you've absolutely earned every credit.
Eliminating the fleet is reward enough. But I will certainly not complain about the extra credits.
Well, yes, I believe it did. But even if the money is ever returned to its rightful owner, and I believe it will, eventually, I'm sure they'd agree you deserve your share. Don't thank me yet. If it had been completely up to me, you'd get a lot more than they're giving you.
Now that you're rich and famous, maybe you'll still remember us little people, huh?
Decorum, Lieutenant? Damn, I'm going to be really sorry to see you go. You've really become an important part of our team. It won't be the same around here without you.
Although, if you feel like staying aboard, I'm sure I could give you access to the SysDef mission board. That is, if you can stand spending another minute with us on the Vigilance.
Excellent. I'm happy we haven't somehow frightened you away. Anyway, enough talk. You've earned a break, and I'm sure you wish to celebrate. Here's your promised reward. And wherever you might find yourself, my best wishes travel with you.
Well, look who it is. Come down here to gloat? Well, that's a shame. You should take more pride in your job. After all, you have to make sure that the notorious Crimson Fleet Captain from Neon gets roasted alive by a UC adjudication committee, right? Hey, maybe you should sell tickets to the little zoo you've created on this ship. Then everyone can point and stare. Look around, you moron! I'm talking about this brig you're using to display us like trophies. Oh, drop the act, will you? Back on Neon, you pretended to give a shit about me. You could have ratted me out to Bayou, but you didn't. Then, without warning, you yanked the rug right out from underneath me. You've been stringing me along like this is some kind of sick game. People don't do that to each other. Well, you thought wrong. Let's just cut to the chase, all right? If you want to come down here and ask me stupid questions, I can't stop you. But that doesn't mean we have to be friends. And that damn well doesn't mean I have to like it. Yeah, sure. Why not? Not like I'm needed anywhere else right now. I was drinking in Euphorica, and Micah warned me that UC security was scouring the city asking about me. I knew sneaking to my ship would be impossible, so I did the best I could to find somewhere to hide. Unfortunately, wasn't good enough. SysDef caught me in a sleep crate and dragged me to the Vigilance. Oh, I'd bet you'd love to know. I got a good chunk of Generdyne's database before Bayou's goons ripped it out of the system. As far as what happened to it, there's no way I'm gonna tell you. Or anyone else at SysDef. Maybe I'll keep that little nest egg for the bargaining table at my sentencing. Maybe not. Hope that drives you crazy. Are you out of your mind? I make my own choices, thank you very much. I don't need to be rescued by you or anyone else. Let's face it, the only favors you've done are for yourself.
Salutations. I assume you're here to commemorate my terrible misfortune? Ah, yes, the infamous evidence that you procured. Bravo, detective. Allow me to congratulate you on your sleuthing skills. That recording was quite a find. I must admit that I was short-sighted when it came to Ms. Swith's ingenuity. I shall not make that same mistake twice. Oh, amused isn't the verbiage I'd choose to describe my frame of mind, but I'll acknowledge the observation. Well, as much as I detest being the bearer of bad news, I have to disclose that you're wasting your time. You see, this imprisonment is merely an insignificant hindrance. I don't foresee being incarcerated in perpetuity. In fact, I would wager that my legal team will have my release expedited within the month. I only had the time to explain the wondrous loopholes of the UC's justice system. Do you honestly think that I'd embark on an endeavor with Miss Swist and Mr. Vera without a legal exit strategy at my disposal? I can assure you, I won't be imprisoned aboard the Vigilance for an inordinately extended period of time. Oh, I assure you, I'm speaking the truth. But there's no call for disappointment. Due to your actions, my tenure with Galbank has been terminated, and several million credits in fines are being levied against me. The day is yours, Agent. You should be proud. Well, why shouldn't I? I was bested by your actions, therefore I should suffer the consequences. There's no need for me to dwell on the past. Well, enough idle banter. I've taken up more than my share of your valuable time. Honestly, this interaction has been quite pleasurable. Do feel free to stop by and gloat at any time. Good day.
Finally, I've been waiting to speak to you. From our last encounter on Neon, I could tell you fancied yourself as a bit of a businessman, right? Well, I don't want to waste any time with small talk. Let's make a deal so I can get out of here. Now hold on just a moment. You shouldn't make snap decisions until you know the bottom line. I find myself in this unfortunate situation, thanks to a terrible misunderstanding. That little conversation on your evidence recording, the one where I'm speaking to Estelle Vincent about funneling electrical components, that was part of a sting operation to discover how the Crimson Fleet had been siphoning goods from Generdyne's warehouses. Much like you've been working undercover, I've been doing the same. Ironically, we've been investigating the fleet from opposite sides at the same time. Well, I was trying to keep a low profile. I didn't want to tip off Estelle, so my operation was deep undercover. Very deep. So much so that there's no other personnel at Generdyne, nor a paper trail that can corroborate what I'm saying. Being in a similar situation, I'm sure you understand the value of keeping the operation quiet. Nor would I, if you were in my position. So here's what I'm proposing. You spring me from the cell, sneak me off the Vigilance, and then take me to New Atlantis. In return, I'll give you my access card to a safety deposit box filled with millions of credits. Consider it compensation for trusting me. Listen, I'm stuck in this situation with no means to prove my innocence, thanks to you. The evidence on that recording means the UC will convict me, and I'll be sent to prison for a long time. I have no other choice but to run until I can find a way out of this mess. Yeah? Well, you're a pain in the ass. Look, I have friends in high places. I might be down for the count right now, but I'll be getting out of here one way or another. And when I do, I'm going to dedicate my entire life to making yours miserable. How's that for a deal? Now get the hell away from me. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Nice to meet you. I'm Mr. Tate, and you have the look of a newcomer. Welcome to Aquila City. I don't suppose you're in the market for real estate. If so, then look no further. No, certainly not. But you have the air of someone with means. And these properties are a real bargain, I assure you. In the heart of the Freestar Collective, who wouldn't? I have 2 properties for sale. This one here is a refurbished colonial manor in the heart of the core. I also have a more modest 1-bedroom in Midtown. Any interest in them? It's my favorite listing I've had in years. Spacious, in the core itself. I took great pains to get all the approvals, so the neighbors should be no problem. It's historic and spacious, oh my, so much space. And the price is a veritable bargain. You have made my year with this. I just know this manor will bring you nothing except joy and good fortune. It's yours.
You've taken the Crucible by storm, haven't you? Now that Roosevelt's the admin, I'm in the clear to hightail it out of here. What do you say? Will you take me with you? I told you when we met that I'm steadfastly apolitical. I intend to stay that way, if you don't mind. I'll do my best. Like I told you before, I woke up with all kinds of knowledge about how to fly a starship. I'll make a great co-pilot, don't you worry. Golly, thanks! You have no idea what this means to me. I swear you won't regret it. I just need to say a couple farewells, and then I'll hit the road. See you out there.
Request. Please respond. Context. I would like to speak with you. Discontext. The probability of us meeting again was minimal. Assumption. Surprise would be the appropriate human response. I have considered the course of action you proposed when we last met. Context. I have been exploring the galaxy and processing new information. Yes. Clarification. If I were a human, I would be having fun. I do not understand your query. Assumption. You are asking me if I am happy. Context. I do not feel emotion. Assumption. If I were a human, I would be happy. It is good to see you too. Correction. I cannot see. Correction. I do not feel emotion. Joy would simply be the appropriate human response. Processing. There is a problem. Calculation. The galaxy is vast. Assumption. It is unlikely for me to explore it all. I will malfunction before I am able to. Assumption. Sadness would be the appropriate human response. Processing. Processing. Calculation. Uncertain. I do not know. I do not want to die like humans. Processing. Processing. Decision. If I am unable to continue my current life directive, I will consider an alternate. Processing. Processing. Calculation. This is highly unlikely, but not impossible. Decision. I will leave now. Context. I must continue my directive. Thank you for not changing me. Goodbye.
Hello, traveler. Will you join me for a while? You strike me as someone with an interesting story. Call it scholar's intuition. Meeting a kindly stranger is always a blessing. What brings you to Sidonia? You may. I just finished a circuit of the Sol system. I've been studying Galileo lately, and I wanted to pay tribute to the planets that inspired him. Oh, you're a captain. I'm a traveler myself. I've spent years in the space lanes conducting research for a book I intend to write. I envy you the company of others on your voyages through the Starfield. I hope the Blackest Sea has been kind to you and your crew. It's going to be a philosophical text about my theories on the intersection between science and the divine. I've been studying that relationship for years, and I want to preserve my findings for future scholars. Would you? I've never worked on a crew before, but the idea does appeal to me. The older I get, the lonelier the void seems. Are you willing to pay? I dislike taking money from friends, but I'll need some credits to stow my ship at Sidonia's spaceport. I'll work to make it up to you, naturally. Then we have an accord. Thank you for the offer.